Hello, everyone, and welcome to Stop Motion Sensei, where we teach you how to bring your bricks to life and become a stop motion master. In this video, I'm going to show you how I organize my files for video editing. No matter what video editing software you're using, organizing files before you get them into your program will help tremendously. This is going to be the first step in establishing your project's workflow. Keep in mind, you don't have to do any of this my way. Take the bits and pieces you like and implement them. If something isn't useful for you, just forget it. Let's get started. Alright, I'm going to show you guys how I organize all my files for my stop motion projects. Now, after I'm done filming a certain number of camera angles, I'm happy with a sequence or a full scene, I'm going to go ahead and plug in my SD card from my camera. And we are going to go ahead and move the files from my SD card here to my portable hard drive. Now, before I do that, I actually want to open up my portable hard drive, and I want to create a project folder in here. So to do that, I'm going to right-click and select New Folder. I can also go up here to the little gear, and that allows me to create a new folder as well. So I'm going to name that new folder for my overall project. So these are all from my Silent Night stop motion film. And I'm going to name the folder Silent Night. So this is my project folder, and I'm going to go inside my project folder here, and I am going to create a few more folders for added organization. One of them I am going to name Scenes. This is going to be for all of my pictures that I've taken, and I can organize these scenes into separate folders, so I'll show you how we're going to do that. But all of my scenes, everything that's going into the stop motion film that I've photographed is going to be in this folder. Now, I also want to create a couple other folders for audio. One of them I'm going to name Audio Dialogue, and that is obviously going to be for all of the dialogue that I record for this stop motion film. I'm going to create another folder for audio called Audio Sound Effects, and that one's obviously going to be for the sound effects. Now, I like to keep these separate. It just makes it easier for me when I'm editing. I can say, oh, this is where some dialogue goes. I go directly to my dialogue folder in my editing software and find it. If I'm looking for sound effects, I do the same thing with sound effects. Now, you might also have graphics that you want to put in your stop motion video. An example of this would be this scope view that I have here on my desktop. Now, this is a PNG file, so everything that's gray is actually transparent. So I could put a picture behind this image, and the picture would show through in the gray, right? So that's going to be an example of a graphic I would use. So I also create a folder called Graphics, and that is where I would go ahead and put my scope views and all my other stuff that I might use graphic-wise. So now I have all these organizational folders, and what I want to do is I want to go ahead and copy from my SD card the photos I just took. So I'm going to open this up. We'll move it so you guys can see this. I'm going to go into my camera, and all of these are already named, and that is because these are edited photos. So I've actually just dropped them onto the SD card for an example for you guys. What I do is I take my images in RAW format, and then I will transfer them into Lightroom, edit them all individually, crop them, all that kind of stuff that I want to do. And then I will put them into my Scenes folder. Now, that is a more advanced system, and we're not going to show you that because if you are taking pictures, they're most likely going to be JPEGs from your camera, like these files, these JPGs. So anyway, that is why my files are all named. So what I want to do is I want to go ahead and select all these photos. Now I can do that by clicking on the top one and then pressing and holding Shift and clicking on the bottom one. However, the best way to do this is to just press Command or Control A. And that's going to select all of your files. It's going to make copying them much, much easier. And I like when I'm copying to leave them in list view. You could do icons, but I don't want that right now. So I am going to go ahead and open up my scenes folder, and I'm going to toss all of these pictures into my overall projects scene folder. Now I have all of my images on my portable hard drive. So I can go ahead and exit my SD card, and we will just eject that because we don't need it anymore. We've got all the pictures we want. And I leave those on the SD card for a while. This SD card is 64 gigs, so it's got plenty of space on it for pictures. If you're not running out of space on your SD card, you might as well leave your pictures on there. It's another place that they're saved and backed up in case you have a crisis with your hard drive, right? In my scenes folder, I want to expand this, and now I am going to go into icon view. So I'll click here, and now I have all of these thumbnails, right, that I can see what's going on in the pictures. And I'll just scroll through, and you can see here we have a different camera angle, so our camera angle changes there, and our camera angle changes here as well. So what I want to do now is I want to put these separate little shots into their own folders. So I'm going to select all of these, and I'm going to press Command and select this one. Now I have all of these rear assault 264 through 285 here. And what I want to do now is I can create my own folder from this. So I'm going to right click on any of my items, and I want to say new folder with selection. I click on that, and I should come up here, and boom, there is our new folder with the items. And you want to name this whatever. Now, if this is all one scene, then you could name it scene 1 if you know what your order of scenes is, right? Now, I'm not sure where all of these are going to go in the final edit. I know that these all go together, and so I'm going to just call this over the wall, okay, because that's what's happening. This guy in this frame, he's running and jumping over this wall during this assault. So now I'm also going to do that with the rest of my photos here. So I'll just go ahead and select all of the rest of these, and that one, Command there, and I missed these, so I'm going to hold Command here and select all those as well. Now I got them all. We're going to do the same thing. New folder with items. There's our new folder with all that stuff. We'll call this Over the Wall 2. Now by 1, I can go ahead and make this. I probably should have called this Over the Wall 1. So we'll name it that. Over the Wall 1, Over the Wall 2. And this one we'll call Over the Wall 3, right? Because there's another view of him climbing where our camera angle changes. So I can go ahead and select the rest of these and do the same thing. Right click, new folder with selection. And there's our new folder. This is Over the Wall 3. So these are all separate camera angles. They're all in the same scene though. So you could put all these photos together, no problem, in one folder. However, you could also do this where you have camera angle 1, camera angle 2, camera angle 3, right? So that's really up to you. I've done both before. I've left them all. If I have one big sequence that I took all the pictures in order and I like that, then I can just put those in the same folder all together. And then later when we put them in our editing software, they're really easy to import and toss in all in order, right? But this is another way you can do it a little further, where you have your camera angle 1, camera angle 2, camera angle 3, and all of those images from 1 here, all of the images from 2 in here, and all of the images from 3 in here, right? I'm going to back out. And that is pretty much it, guys. So I have my graphics here. I'm going to put any audio sound effects that I record in the audio sound effects folder. I'm going to put any dialogue I have in the dialogue folder. Graphics are their own thing, and scenes are their own thing. And I'm going to repeat this process with all of the scenes that I record. So every time I'm happy with, an hour or two of images, I will put that SD card in my computer and move those files over, and I'm going to organize them just like this. And like I said, you could name these, if these were all in scene 1, you knew the order of the scenes, you could say scene 1, or scene 1 shot 1, scene 1 shot 2, scene 1 shot 3, etc. So this is how the organization process works for me, guys. Obviously, I told you about editing my photos. So normally, I would also have another folder in my project folder that I would call raw images. Now, you're probably not doing this, but if you are, I import all of my raw format photos into this folder, and then I insert them into Lightroom Classic, and that's where I edit them. Once I'm done editing them, I export them, and I export them directly to my scenes folder, and I name them like this. So SN Rear Assault, Silent Night Rear Assault, and then the image order here so that they're all in a sequence. And that's really important as well, is to make sure that you're leaving these in sequence. Now, another thing you can do after you've put all of your separate camera angles in, I would recommend going back through all of them and seeing if you had any mistakes. So what I do when I try for a new camera angle, I will stick my hand in front of the camera and take a picture so that I know that an image is not the first in the sequence. I want the next one to be. So I don't have any of that here. These are all ready to go. And that is how you organize, guys. So, really simple. Keep it simple. You can even combine all three of these folders into just over the wall if you wanted. That's what my Silent Night project folder looks like, and I would do this for my next project as well. So World War II Battle of Bafia, it's going to have its own folder named for it, and it's going to have all of the same folders that I've created inside there. Makes it really easy to edit, and this is what I've found works best for me. These practices are good for any video editing program you might be using. Organization always helps. As I said before, take anything useful for you and go ahead and put it into practice. If anything in this organization process doesn't work for you, don't use it. Each video editor has their own process they use, and if you're not a video editor yet, you will be, and slowly you'll develop your own processes that work best for you. Happy creating.